our e-bikes have finally come in.
And we've, in just the last 6 weeks, probably logged about 200 miles, pumping them up and down little trails and having a blast.
So let's tell you what we got and why.
Staying on the path that I've chosen, straight up. Come my way and I'll see you at the top. 'Cause something's gonna happen in this story. And I can feel it coming, like the rising of the sun. Straight up. Calamity abounds and it's making me frown. 'Cause humanity can't see what
I think it was October of last year that we
2020?
put out a video that we were starting our shopping for a second set of e-bikes. Well, not a second set, our next set of e-bikes.
Yeah, so our original e-bikes we bought back in 2005.
15.
2015. Decades. 2015 was a pair of
Ejo
EPIK SEs that we had picked out primarily because we needed to find bikes that would fold up and fit into a very narrow bay on our bus and also fit into the back of a Mini Cooper. So we had specific criteria, but we found these Ejo EPIK SEs. We're very pleased with them. They've been awesome bikes for years, but we kind of wore them out.
So when we bought our boat in 2017, they moved aboard with us and they became our primary transport as we cruised up and down the coast, because moving a car with you is not always practical, and originally we didn't think we would have a car. But it allowed us to do exploring from further away than where we could get our boat to, as well as doing provisioning, because grocery stores are not always close to where the marina is, and back then Instacart wasn't as popular as it is today.
Yeah, so we did get a lot of great use out of those EPIK SEs, but over time, and particularly over the last 2 years, they basically turned, the electrics had failed on them, so they were
The
big,
controller, not
the
the
controllers.
lithium
Yeah,
system.
the batteries are fine and everything, but the controller, you can no longer turn them on basically unless it was so you had big, heavy, rusty bikes that the last time we took them into a bike shop, they were like, it's not even worth trying to tune these up anymore. We're afraid the bolts will break. So get new bikes. And so that's what we posted about last October. It's like, okay, we're on a hunt. We need new bikes. We're really missing out on biking. The ones we have are not doing the job anymore. Let's find something new.
So we reevaluated what our criteria was, because we no longer needed to fold the bikes up into the bay of a bus or a Mini Cooper.
Yes.
We would now be transporting them either on the back of our camper van, which we have a backstage fold out.
a Rocky Mount backstage.
That thing. Which ideally the bike should be under 60 pounds each to accommodate that bike rack. And we also carry them aboard the back of our boat. Which kind of left us with the same size constraints of what we had with our Ejo EPIK SEs.
And we didn't have space on the back of the boat for full-size bikes. The cockpit would have been too tight. There's no space for it. But small tire bikes, 20-inch tire bikes would be just about perfect. And we already knew we loved riding bikes with that size tire. So we're back into looking at 20-inch foldable bikes.
So the first obvious solution was going with Ejo's upgraded, evolved model, which they call now the EPIK Swan, which is what we ended up with. But at the back then, October, we also had about 10 other bike models that were on our list that met those criteria.
Check the blog post for all that.
We had asked you guys for your feedback and experiences and other suggestions. You gave us a lot of other suggestions.
Yeah, we went from having maybe 8 or 10 contenders to having 20-something contenders, because we had so many suggestions of, have you checked this bike? Have you checked this bike? I have this bike and I love it. And it was kind of overwhelming. It was like so many great options, and you go to research them and it's hard to find the specs, or in particular, it was hard to find bikes that were available and not sold out for the entire year. So we're like, well, what can we get before the end of 2020, because we don't want to wait forever, that will satisfy our itch to bike. And
so long around late October, we had reached analysis paralysis.
Too many options
with all of these options. If you want a list of everything that we tracked, we do have the blog post version still available. You can go look at that. And Ejo put out a coupon for, I think it was $300 off of buying 2 bikes, and unfortunately shipping wouldn't be until early December is what they said.
But it's still before 2020, so hey,
maybe a little wine involved, and the click of the buy button, we went ahead and just said, let's order it, let's get it done.
We know we like the original Ejos. There's a lot of other great options, but it's taking us too long to even pick between them. We're in the middle of a pandemic. We can't test drive anything, so let's just trust that the new Ejos will be as good as the old ones. Buy, go. It'll be here in just a few weeks.
And they'll be blue, which matches
That
our
was
new
the other
blue van,
criteria.
our blue bus, and our blue boat. We seem to have a thing for blue, so at least they would look good. Well, shipping delayed.
Hey, bike riding. Yeah, need our electric bikes back. Uh-oh, pothole. By early December turned into
Late February when we got them.
We finally got our bikes. Exciting. And
So we were filming this after owning them for just over 6 weeks. We have put on 200 miles. We have optimized the last few weeks getting out in the van and exploring Florida state parks with amazing biking trails.
we're on the Cross Florida Greenway right now. Some incredible biking here. Mountain bike trails, paved trails, all sorts of fun stuff. And it's been so much fun to have e-bikes again.
Awesome. So our review so far of the Swans is thumbs up. We love them. One thing you might note back there is that white fork on the front. That was a factory
Mix-up.
maybe we'll guess we'll call it a mix-up. Basically, they ran out of blue, and all they had left was black and white, and the factory decided to go white, which
Kind of weird.
black would have just blended in nicely. White kind of stands out, so we're not too happy about that. Doesn't affect the performance of them at
No.
all. Just makes them kind of look unfinished.
Yeah. At first, I thought they just forgot to paint the part, but no. So Ijo says theoretically at some point they'll send us black or blue or some better forks once they figure this out. But okay, fine. But overall, we're loving these bikes. They've been so much fun to get on.
So some of the upgrades from our last ones that we really like is number one, the frame design. So the Swan refers to the step-through frame, which has become much more popular in electric bikes and bikes in general lately. I'm finding I really love it because we're doing some of these mountain bike trails. Mountain meaning they might be a little hill.
That's twisty through the woods and dodging
but
roots.
but you're
and
going
stuff,
over
yeah.
roots and things like that. And there's sometimes you just want to exit a bike really quickly to avoid calamity. So it's been really nice just to hop off the bike really quickly without having to lift a leg over. I love it for that. And I also like to walk outside my house not thinking about am I wearing shorts or am I wearing a dress. And I get out there on my bike. I was like, oh, I'm on a dress. I didn't even notice because it was so easy to get on the bike.
Yeah. So some of the other upgrades, it's a bigger battery and a more powerful motor. So this is a zippy bike. We've been very pleased with the range. The claimed range is 40 miles an hour with pedal assist.
Not 40
No,
miles
sorry,
an
40
hour?
miles of pedaling.
20 miles per hour is the cap
Yes,
speed limit on most e-bikes.
Yes, 40 miles. And I've actually on one. I do most of my riding. I do very little. Try to minimize the amount of electric, but it's nice to have it when it's there. And I felt very confident going close to 40. I think 37 was the longest I've gone without charging.
Not on a single ride yet.
Not on a single ride. Longest single ride is 17, I think, so far.
I think so. And our butt was feeling enough of that.
Um,
But one other feature that we love, our old bikes, the pedal assist levels were just kind of locked in. You couldn't change them. So in the first level, it was always too much power.
Too fast.
So it was either, for us, it was like deciding between self-pedaling or having too much assist that you really weren't feeling like you're getting a workout. This allows you to program them, which is a feature that I wish the old ones have, and definitely look for that in any e-bike that you're looking
it's
at.
actually undocumented. So I had to look up the control board on this and Google it and figure it all out and stuff. But once I figured out how to program the pedal assist levels, we've dialed down level 1 to be barely any force just to help you get off the kick off the line. And we were able to dial them differently for us, so we have different styles of riding. And so now we're like, hey, let's cruise on level 3 for a while.
Level 3 means the same speed as his level 3, depending upon the power that we
and how much
had.
pedaling we're each doing.
Right. So that's worked out fabulously. Definitely recommend something that you can program the assist levels on. This one does have the throttle on it, just like the last version. So you could ride it like a little moped. We hardly ever do. I use mine more as a pedal assist on demand, just a little extra oomph. I need to maybe get up a hill, get over
Out of
a
a
root.
sand pit, yeah. They got fenders to keep the water from spraying up on you. They've got a cargo rack. The battery, I actually really like that the battery is removable, so you could take easily. They're removable on all e-bikes, but it's easily removable. So the old EPIK Swan, you had to fold the bike in half and kind of slide the battery out of the frame. Here, the battery's still built in the frame, but it just lifts right out of the top, and it's easy to take inside to charge or keep climate controlled.
And I love how the battery's just integrated nicely into the frame.
Yeah.
It's really sleek and it looks nice.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't just look like an appendage onto the bike frame.
Yeah.
These are 2 1/4 inch wheels, tires. Not quite a fat tire, but they are thicker than the old
Wider, yeah.
model.
And-
So it helps on the trails a little bit.
We've been on some pretty sandy areas and some, through forests and leaves and stuff, and it's definitely feels better to ride in kind of rough terrain than our old EPIK Swans, but we've had a chance to test drive real fat tire bikes, and those just float over sand, and so they're not quite that, but then again, these are much easier.
Right.
Pavement.
So, like our friends of ours, Ron and Steve, they have the electric bikes that we got to test ride with them. We've been camping with them a little bit this winter, and they're great. They're great riding bikes. We really like them, but they are much heavier. They're much bulkier, and for our needs of something that we can easily get on and off the boat, and also thinking about that bike rack that we need to load them onto. I think they would be beyond what we would want in size.
Now, speaking of weight, these bikes were advertised as being 50 pounds with battery. They're actually 50 pounds without battery and about 56 with battery, but that's still within the 60-pound guidance for our bike racks, so that's good. They are definitely a lot lighter than electric or many of the Rad Power, many of the other.
They're one of the lightest electric bikes on the market that have quality. Now, these are definitely mid-range bikes. We paid, I think, $15.99 for them. I think they retail for $1,700. There are much cheaper options like those electrics, and there's some others that are in the sub $800 range, and then there's some
much
$3,000 and $4,000 ones out there too. Mid-range works for us, especially since they're going to be in a marine environment and they're probably going to age more prematurely.
And we're gonna be riding them hard through the woods and bouncing them around and stuff. So yeah, they'll get some abuse.
In case you're wondering, no, we're not selling these. We have no affiliation with EJO.
We paid full retail price.
In fact, if you even wanted one, I don't know that you'll find one. There might be some in dealers around the nation that got some out of our batch, but last I checked their website, they are not showing this model available for shipping until August. In our experience, that probably means December.
So keep this in mind. We can say we recommend the EPIK Swan. It's been a great bike. Mostly everything about it we've really been impressed by. I really like it. It's fun to ride. It's fun to ride even with the electric turned off, which is one of the most important things for me. Is I want a bike that I could really enjoy riding, and then turn the electric on and not sweat on the way cruising back or cruising from a grocery store or something like that.
All right, so now accessories. Notice we're wearing our dork hats.
Helmets here.
So we went with the Senna helmets, which have an integrated intercom system into them, and this changes when you ride with a partner or a group.
Yeah, so our friends Ron and Steve had these, and they were talking about how they used them on their trips, and we're like, that sounds cool. We immediately ordered them, and indeed, it is like in the past we'd go riding, and I'd like to ride really fast, pump up and get my legs going and go fast ahead, but I'd always be nervous, like, am I going to lose? Are we going to miss a turn, or are we going to be...
Right, and that would leave me deciding do I just want to pump up the electric and not get my exercise out of it, or really exhaust myself trying to keep up? And this has allowed us to communicate, navigate when we're further apart, be able to warn the other about obstacles coming up, other bikers on the trail. Oh, great, surprise on camera.
I'm going to get your technique. The smarter technique than the technique I tried.
On the trail, pedestrians and things like that.
Or just talk about cool things like, oh wow, that tree's amazingly beautiful. Be sure to look to your right when you get up here.
Or cellular data plans and modems,
or we talk
routers.
About work,
we talk about work way too much.
But because normally biking, you're either right next to each other and yelling over your shoulders back and forth, or you're not talking at all. And this, you just got the other person gently in your ear, and
you can turn them off if you.
And you can turn them off, or you could switch to music. It's got actually an FM radio built in, or you could pair it with your phone and listen to music over Bluetooth. And just so impressed by how much functionality this adds to bike riding.
And then I went extra dorky and got this brim hat. It's by Da Brim. I saw some other people on trails wearing them, and as I'm sun averse, I had to have it. So this allows me to be out in the sun a lot easier with less worry about having skin cancer later or having a sunburn. So I'll look like a dork. Who cares? And I usually wear a sun jacket as well when I'm out in the sun. Thankfully, we're in a nice shady, cloudy day today.
Beautiful shaded trails here.
We had some nice phone holders for the bike handlebars, so we can have our phones with us, checking navigation, checking our stats from our watches are feeding to our phones, and unfortunately checking email and work and checking in with the team. It allows us to go and be off on the trails while our team is working away.
Yeah. And we also do have a little, I guess, tool bag and some tools. And then we actually got some big pannier bags that we put on the bikes when we're going to do grocery shopping and stuff. We can carry a couple bags worth of, do a decent provisioning run by strapping the panniers on.
Which
so
we do.
Yeah, particularly on the boat. That's been really, really handy.
So, loving having our bikes back in an active part of our life. They were such an amazing part when we got them in 2015. Back then, e-bikes in RV and boat travel were kind of new.
Kind of rare, yeah.
Now they're very common. It's awesome to see how many other RVers and boaters enjoy them now too, and how many options are out on the market. There are
so
a
many
lot
great
of options. So hopefully our sharing, even though you can't go and buy one of ours right now,
there are a lot of great e-bikes out there.
So maybe some of the features we talked about will help you search and filter down to the options you want to look at in yours.
Yeah, so maybe we'll see you out there on a bike trail someday and have some fun.
We create these videos just for fun, and we love having you along for the ride. If you like this video, give us a thumbs up, leave a comment, or if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel. See you next time.